Hi everyone, it's Mike from Liverpool. This is a new site, so I've got no subscribers, and this is the very beginning of it. This is one of the first videos that I've done. Today I'm going to talk about narcissistic leaders and narcissism and how bad it really is. It's bad, you know. I mean, a lot of our leaders are narcissists. A lot of our MPs in the House of Commons are narcissists. The ones that sit on the cabinet, you know, they've got narcissistic traits. They're confidence tricksters. In other words, they can gain people's confidence to reach positions that they want to reach, but they're really bad at the job in as much as they have no empathy with anyone. But anyway, it says here on this piece of paper I'm looking at, this, you know, A4 piece of paper, that 1% of the population, you know, are pathological narcissists. That's bordering on sociopathic. They're really bad.
But not all narcissists are created equal. There's special ones. They've estimated that 1% of the population, that's 1 in 100, are pathological. These people have narcissistic personality disorder. They are insecure sociopaths. I like to equate them in the plant world as an invasive species. They don't really fit into any environment system, especially a work one.
1% you may not think is very much, but it is. It's one in every 100. I mean, how many people live on the planet? 4 to 5 billion. That's a lot of people when you count it up, when you take into account the population of the world. And at least 6 to 10% are what you call they're extreme narcissists. They're extreme narcissists, and they're really bad. And that's 6 to 10%. That's a lot of people. That's 6 to 10 out of every 100. That's really bad when you look at the world and the amount of people in the world. And these people, you know, you've got to be really spot on that you can catch these people, because these people can just destroy everything. I mean, luckily, you know, these people get exposed, but some of them don't. Some of them end up as bosses, and they just turn everything into a nightmare.
Next in line is our extreme narcissists. It's estimated that this is between 6 to 10% of the population. These people are very special too. Although not pathological, they are extremely toxic. I like to equate them to a poison ivy. They're best left alone and untouched.
But then you've got the least type of narcissist. They're bad as well. You know, they exist in the House of Commons. Some of them are not far away, really. Some of those MPs in the House of Commons aren't far away from the 6 to 10%, and some of them are pathological narcissists, you know, but only a few of them, but some of them are. So we have a Parliament, or a House of Commons, the House that represents the common people, the House of Commons, the House of Parliaments, 650 MPs, and I would say at least 500 of them are narcissistic. 500 of them. And 470, remember, are trying to keep us locked into the European Union, and, you know, they want us to stay in Europe, because they've got vested interests, the globalists and such like, and they have a vested interest, and they've got stocks and shares in companies that deal with businesses which are global. So they need us to stay in Europe, because they've got a vested interest. Now, they're narcissistic, those people, you know. And this is the situation that we're in. You know, there should be a test that MPs cannot become merchants or narcissistic, or at least extreme narcissists. But 1% of the population, you know, they're narcissists. They're the real bad ones, the pathological narcissists. But quite a lot of the population, you know, are what you call are narcissistic. 6 to 10%, that's a hell of a lot, isn't it? And probably even more than that when obviously they're not as much narcissistic as you go down in the levels, but they're still there.
The next grouping is our garden variety. These people aren't so bad. They're the mild to mediums. And with a little bit of management, a little bit of cultivation, a little bit of care, they can have very good qualities. They can be incredibly driven. They can be very engaging, very charming, confident, and quite honestly, they can get stuff done. Now, nobody really knows exactly why this growth in narcissism has occurred, but the speculation is that it stems from our individualistic and introspective post-war culture. This has also changed parenting techniques, where kids are micromanaged while the parents are missing in action, where praise is given to raise self-esteem and every kid gets a trophy. Also, there's no free play. And instead, we have a very early adoption of an exposure to media. So regardless of the cause, these people can be extremely difficult to employ and even harder to work for. But they're not going away. So how do we, as business owners, as managers, leverage these challenging personalities to ensure that we have successful businesses and positive working environments? The first step is to hire accordingly. In this situation, you must know that these personality types exist. You must watch for it. By doing so, you can help to screen and weed out those 10%, the pathological and the extreme narcissists. We know that those personality types are extremely toxic and unproductive in the workplace, even as leaders. Additionally, when you're screening, you need to identify not only the job skills that are required, but the personal skills that complement that job. By doing so, you can actually use the strengths of these personalities to your advantage. We know that they're extremely persuasive. We know that they function well as islands in and of themselves. We know that they can be very engaging, and they are also extremely dedicated. So by marrying the personality skills with the job itself, you can ensure greater success. Next, define your environment. You must lead and empower the leaders. If you don't lead, the narcissists will. Weeds grow in cracks, so make sure you have strong leadership. Additionally, create a clan-like environment. This is a team cohesive spirit. The greater good rules. Make sure you have a group. Group success is your measurement for all individuals. By doing so, you can ensure a much greater, powerful workforce. Google and Facebook are brilliant at this.
And this is the situation. Now, a lot of these people, are demonic. They're demonic. They're evil. They have no empathy with anyone. They don't care about you, me, or anyone. It's all they care about is their career. And they exist in politics. You'll also find them in other parts, in other things within life. In the church, mate, you'll find them in the church as pastors and things like that. You'll find them in the community, involved within the communities. They're always there, and they're always trying to take control, and they always seek to be liked, and they love to have praise put upon them. You've got them in the councils too, council officers, even senior council officers who reward themselves for failure. Now you're going to say, what does that mean, rewarding themselves for failure? Well, they devise strategies and put structures into place when they enter into communities to make things happen, but they fail all the time. And then what they do is they say we learn from these failures and they reward themselves for failure. They're narcissistic, but I'll show you a bit of a video now, which I was watching, which is pretty scary, big businesses now, they know about narcissists. Google have a lot of narcissists working in Google. But Google senior management, they know how to handle narcissists and what positions to put them in where they can get the best sort of results from the narcissists. The army knows they've got them, everyone does, And then you've got obviously the psychopaths, which are dangerous, and the pathological narcissists who border on sociopathy, they're dangerous. But I'll take you through a video and I'll chop it up. I'll use little bits of it to show you what we're dealing with here. And nothing's ever going to change while these people are running things. So it doesn't have anything to do with these people are sly or this, that and the other. It's what they're like, they exist at central government level and they exist at local government level within our councils. And these are the people, that put together these glossy magazines and come into our communities and put structures into place within our communities to impose their agendas upon us. So they devise what's called I call them, they devise deceptive narratives, very deceptive. And, we've been brainwashed from school up, and our children are still being brainwashed to this very day by a national curriculum that has been devised by narcissists. And I've said this on other videos, and I'll say it again. Our children today are not being sort of educated and taught to be leaders and to engage in critical dialogue for positive social change. No, they're being indoctrinated into being adaptive. In other words, to adapt to what the state is imposing upon them. So they want them to be passive and to adapt, to be passive entities, so nothing ever changes. So our children just think it's normal to be passive. And the worst thing is we've got a media in this country, which everyone knows. Most of the editors of these newspapers are narcissistic, and a lot of the journalists are narcissistic. I mean, I spoke to a BBC journalist the other night in Southport, and he was a front man, he was the guy who stood at the front. He said, yeah, I know we're telling lies. He said, but what can I do? I've got to earn a wage. He said, I do find it hard sometimes to come to terms with it. He said, it's not so much as we're telling lies. He said, we're being conservative with the truth. I said, yeah, I understand. You've got to earn a wage. So they're caught up in it. The media are. Not all journalists are evil, but they're careerists, and they have to have a career and they have to keep their jobs. So they just go along with that, which they know is wrong. But a lot of the senior journalists are narcissistic. They don't care. They have no empathy. It's all they care about is their own careers, especially some of the top ones. And I said before, in the BBC, in our TV media, we've got journalists involved in that, upper middle class journalists who are totally oblivious to the fact that people suffer and things are never going to get better while they still keep producing the narrative that they do. Some of them are aware of it, but some of them have made excuses to try and indoctrinate themselves into what they're doing isn't wrong. But let's take a look at this lady and see what she's got to say.
Narcissist. It sounds nasty, doesn't it? Like an open, oozing sore, painful to experience. Social narcissism reflects our current cultural reality. Its growth is an increasing challenge to businesses worldwide. The word narcissism stems from Greek mythology. Narcissus, a young hunter and an exceptionally handsome man, one day tired from hunting and the heat, he lies by a splendid spring. As he's drinking the water, he sees his beautiful image. He falls madly in love. He refuses to drink for fear that his lovely image will disappear. In time, he wastes away, still enamored with himself, and his death is marked by the growth of a single flower, a narcissus. In our unmythical world, we are surrounded by these selfish, thirsty beings. Like our parched Greek friend, they are addicted to feeling special. Admiration is everything. And if left unchecked, this cyst boils over into feelings of entitlement, blame, overrating one's abilities, lashing out at criticism, arrogance, and bullying, with very little room for empathy. You all know one. You might even be sitting beside one. You might even be one. Well, one thing we know for sure is that their numbers are increasing. A 30-year study reviewed the narcissistic and empathetic traits of college students. In the 1980s, when the study began, the numbers were pretty good. 30% showed high traits of narcissism, with 70% showing traits of empathy. 30 years later, into our millennial generation, the inverse is true. They found that 70% of the students had high narcissistic traits, and only 30% had traits of empathy. This is not to suggest that all millennials are narcissists, but it does tell us that the tendencies are much higher than generations that have gone before. Why do we care about that? Well, because 40% of our current workforce are millennials. In 2030, this number is going to go up to 75%. This is a real challenge.
In conclusion, as you have just seen, this lady is trying to normalise narcissism. You know, narcissists are not normal people. Narcissists are evil people, you know. Narcissists get up to all sorts of tricks. It doesn't matter what level they are. Okay, there's a lesser level, there's higher levels, which she said, but narcissists are mostly the same, you know. And she's even trying to say there that lots of students now are narcissists. That's rubbish. You know, not once did she mention the word empath. That was important. But narcissists are evil. Narcissists do all sorts of different things. And I've just mentioned empath there. Narcissists hate empaths because empaths are the direct opposite to them. Empaths are good people who have empathy with other people. Empaths are angelic, you know. So what the narcissist tries to do, if they come into contact with an empath, and they're always looking for empaths, no matter where they are, they're always looking for empaths, so they can get what's called narcissistic supply from playing head games with empaths, from trying to destroy empaths. Empaths know what narcissists are like because narcissists head for the empaths. You know, and empaths are angelic types of people who care about other people. And this is the situation that we're in today. You cannot normalise narcissism. Narcissists are evil people. Narcissism is evil. And sadly, this is what's happening today, the normalisation of that which isn't normal. I mean, if you look at the TV shows now that our children are watching, Buffy the Vampire, vampirism is being sort of lifted up as being something good. Zombies and all sorts of other terrible, you know, horrific programmes that our children are watching, which are being promoted as being normal. This is the situation that we're in today. You never see many programs now which have like Christianity incorporated within them. For instance, remember the program in the 70s which was called Highway to Heaven, where an angel came to earth and helped people who were having problems. This angel came with another person and helped these people. Those sorts of TV series never come on now. It's all evil and the promotion of evil and that which isn't normal. And we all know what these things are. And because of political correctness, I can't state what they are because Google won't like it. And, you know, as that lady said before, and I'll conclude with this, you know, Google will employ narcissists. Google can recognise narcissists and put them in positions within Google, you know, to advance Google. Do you understand me? Because you need narcissists within those positions. And, you know, one of those positions, as we all know, is censorship. You know, the censoring of people like me, who, you know, empaths like me, who want to sort of find out the truth, you know, have a look at things critically and to use critical dialogue. They don't like people like us, you know, they want to sort of censor us. I mean, this, as I said, I don't know if I said it at the beginning of this, I think I did, of this video. This is a new channel, because one of my channels, I can't seem to get switch it on. It's just gone off of its own accord. So I don't think it's got anything to with Google censoring me. It's something to do with security. They're asking me questions, which I can't remember what they are, you know, but I'll probably find out. But I haven't got that channel. But there's hardly any videos on it anyway. There's only 3 videos on it. But the thing is, I'm trying to promote a channel where we speak about these issues and about good things and about Christianity and about God, you know. These are things which is part of our history and our culture, you know, but the globalists are trying to destroy these things. But anyway, thanks very much for watching this video. In conclusion, it would be great if you could hit the subscribe button. As you can see, this is a new channel and I need as many subscribers as I can get, because the more subscribers I get, the more this channel will get out and people can watch it. Also, can you press the notification button, because that means that every time I make a video you will become aware of it when you switch your computer on or your mobile phone. Thanks.